Eric, thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely, great to be here.
I wanted to just mention to everybody who may not already know, Eric is a huge family travel influencer. He's traveled to over 90 countries, 7 continents, and he's been, by CNN and Forbes, has said he's one of the top 5 travel influencers around. He's won Condé Nast Traveler's photography competition, and the accolades go on and on. But what I think is most amazing, Eric has a deal with his 4 kids, 14, 12, and 10, girl, boy, girl, that they can decide on a place they want to travel every year. And Eric goes on a 1-to-1 trip with each of them to that destination. Is that still happening?
Correct. Yep. Starting at the age of 4, I've let each of them choose anywhere they want to go every year, one-on-one with me. And some years they opt out, but most years they'll take me up on it and choose a place based on their interests or someplace they've heard about, whatever, and we go.
Why did you embark on all these journeys? I mean, as someone who wrote World Class, and I think traveling and seeing the world is so important, I'd love to know your perspective.
Because it's made the kids who they are. I mean, I guess my wife studied abroad in France. I studied abroad in Italy in college. And the more you travel, the more you see and explore and discover, and the more it makes you want to travel. And so I think early on, I mean, when you have a kid who's 0, 1, 2, whatever, you're still traveling for yourself and the kid is kind of coming along. But then you start noticing things like little things in the personality or in the interests that have come from, I mean, maybe you can pinpoint it, maybe you can't, but things that have come from kid-friendly museum tours around the world, from interactions, the independence that our kids got early, where at home they would be shy. But I remember by a lake in Italy, my daughter, when she was 5, like being totally comfortable getting some euros from us and going, I don't know, a couple hundred yards away to wait in line to buy potato chips or something like that, and confirming her Italian phrase before she left, and then going off and just being awestruck that here's this kid that we never have seen anything do. She hasn't done anything like this in the U.S. And now in Italy, where she barely speaks the language, doing that. And so little thing by little thing by little thing, I think it's just added up, where they've either gotten interests abroad, definitive things, or we'll keep traveling because we know the next trip, maybe somebody's going to discover something else, or we discover a spice as a family that we want to start incorporating, or all those little things. So I think it's impacted us. It's made our kids who they are, even if I can't completely define the little ways that it has.
For those families who obviously can't travel, which is a majority of us right now, how would you suggest for parents and educators to engage kids with the world right now?
There are all sorts of cool things that have popped up, like the virtual concerts, virtual tours. I mean, you can tour the Faroe Islands just by going to the Visit Faroe Islands website and go on these kayaking tours virtually. It's kind of amazing. Context Travel, we've done a bunch of their tours around the world, really kid-friendly, like museum tours, things like that. And they now have their experts around the world leading these sessions online. I think that you pay for all of them. But yeah, I mean, you can totally learn about an artwork or a building or a moment in history or whatever, from this person that otherwise would be touring you around. I mean, this is totally unexpected as far as obviously the virus. And every day people are adapting to it in creative ways. And so I think the internet's full of inspiration. I think books are full of inspiration. DK Guides has this book, Where to Go When, that came out last year that's fun. The Atlas Obscura books are amazing, both the adult and the kid books, just for having random things in there that you've never heard of that will send you straight to a map to go, where the heck is this? This is in Bulgaria. This looks incredible, and I've never heard of this. What if we go there someday? I want my kids to understand how small the world is. And I mean, that's really good as far as people go too, because they're never going to hear about a situation in another continent or country and just think of it as like, oh, that's another place. But like, oh my gosh, I went there, or I knew this person from there, or whatever. And it brings the whole world so much tighter, which I think is really good, because those kids are going to be the decision makers someday, and you want them making those decisions based on kind of a knowledge of other people and an empathy.
Final question for you. This has been a very challenging time for many people, but I'd love to end on some note of optimism. Have you learned anything through this, or something new that you weren't aware of, or some thought for the future?
I'm really excited for the future. I think tourism had reached this unsustainable place where you have every bachelor party in Britain, flying off to Mallorca or to Tallinn or Helsinki or whatever. And the low cost carriers that are just bringing plane load after plane load into places. And they're not necessarily the good tourists. They're not doing much to contribute to the local economy. They're not there for the culture. You have cities like Barcelona and Venice being overrun. You have the big bus tourism in so many countries where you just have these huge groups of people that again, aren't really contributing to the local economies. Instead of having one guide leading 55 people through the streets of Athens, to have all of those people still there, but all in tiny little groups of 4 or 5 people with a guide or whatever, then you're in a different restaurant. You're not taking over a whole restaurant. I'm super optimistic about all the little ways that this could change the industry and the world for the better. Really, I'm kind of looking at this with wide open eyes, but wow, this could be a good thing long term.
I love that. It would never have occurred to me to think that way, but it's a beautiful picture. So thank you so much. Yeah, well, thank you so much for spending your time with us, and I will definitely be in touch.
Absolutely. Thanks. This was fun.
Thank you so much.